Hello and welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I'm your host, Liza, and today we're going to paint a fun, kind of spooky, getting into the Halloween vibes. I know it's still early September, but I've seen a lot of these really cute paintings with ghosts kind of in random settings, and I wanted to try my hand at doing something like that. So I do not have a reference picture, nor did I create something in advance of doing this session. So I'll be painting it as I go and showing you the process as I do it. When you're watching this, you'll obviously be able to see the finished result and decide if you'd like to come along with me on my journey to do this together. Today, I'm thinking I'll be doing it in a portrait sized painting, or orientated painting. My idea is to have kind of like a dark blue purpley sky with like a light, maybe like a moon glow essentially. And then I want to have almost like a cliff, like a piece of land that's like a cliff. And then I want to have some like spooky kind of tree happening. And then I'm thinking of putting this like ghost kind of floating with like a balloon, like, even though I know that doesn't make sense, but like ghosts and like balloons too, right? So I kind of want to do something like that. So it's kind of like goofy and weird and creepy and silly, but fun. So that was my vibe for it. And so that's what I will walk you through me creating. So this is obviously a recorded session, so I won't be able to answer your comments in real time, but please feel free to say anything below. I will take a look at the comments as they come up later, and I'll respond to them as we go. If you're watching this again, you can rewind this. You can watch this later. So if you're not able to do this right away, no worries. This will be up on my Facebook page under the videos tab, and also cross-posted to my YouTube channel, Liza's Painting Parties. You can catch it there as well. Yeah, let's have some fun. So before we get started, let's go through what supplies we'll need to create this today. So you'll need a canvas. I'm using a 12 by 16 canvas, like I said, in portrait orientation. I always use acrylic paint. The paint that I prefer to use is this from Artist's Loft. I got this from Michael's in Canada. Again, I'm not like super tied to this particular paint. I quite like it. It kind of dries with like a shiny finish, so I enjoy that. I also have paint, Crafters Acrylic by Deco Art from the Dollarama. So I use quite cheap paint to do all my paintings to make it as accessible. So anyone who's starting out, you can create anything you see with cheap paint supplies, you can create. Obviously, as you get more comfortable, or if you really enjoy that spark, getting better quality paints definitely changes things. However, we will stick with these. I also have a paint palette that I'll be popping my paints on as I go. I have a variety of paintbrushes. I always recommend having at least 3 sizes, one that's a large to give you good coverage all over your canvas, one that's like a medium brush, this one has a slight angle on it, doesn't really matter though, and then one that is a fine that you can do some detail with. So as long as you have at least 3 options, you can get some nice variety packs of paintbrushes also at the Dollarama. And again, they're decent for when you're starting out. And then once you branch out, or if you decide you want to do more, there are some beautiful other types of paintbrushes out there too. I also have paper towel, and I have 2 water containers. As water, acrylic is water-based paint, so you can use that to help with the paint consistency and the texture and whatnot. However, you want to be cautious on how you're using it, because sometimes it can water down too much, and that's not what I want to go with. I like to have a nice opaque kind of vibe going on. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get started on painting. So like I said, I will move the camera over so you can see the canvas predominantly as we go. So I want to do this with like a blue and like a purplish kind of sky. So I'm gonna put a healthy amount of blue, and I'll show you the palette in a moment so you get an idea of like how much paint I'm putting. I'm also gonna put, so I put blue, I put red, I'm putting like a little bit of black. Oh my, just made a mess with my black. All right, let's just clean that up a little bit just so I'm not surprised next time I open this. It's going to get all over my fingers now. Ah, black. Okay. And then a little bit of white. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. So on my paint palette, I have a nice dollop of blue, red, white, and black. The black's like up here if you can't see it, just a little bit. All right, and so what I'm going to start to do is I want to do kind of like an orb, I think, up here, which will eventually, like, I might make it look more like a moon, or I might not. I might just keep it, you know, not as defined. We'll decide that as we go. So I'm going to just move this over. Hopefully it doesn't get blurry. I was kind of doing that a bit earlier, so we'll see what happens. All right, coolio. All right, so I'm going to use my nice large brush to start. And I think at first I want to start with just the white to start my orb where I want that to live. You can't really see it, but I'm just kind of going and like creating a circle with my white to define this area, and also to like wet the canvas because I am going to bring this out. So now it's about yay big. I'm going to go with a little bit of blue now, and I'm just going to like touch around the sides like this. Okay. And now I'm going to just wipe off the excess blue, go back into my white, and go on top of that with white. And that's kind of a sneaky way to start getting things blended. And I'm going in a little bit in and trying to define my circle a little bit more. I'm using white the whole time. If I go back to get paint, I grab white. I don't want to go all the way in the middle. Okay. I'm going to clean off my brush again. There's just black out there, so I don't want to get black in the middle. I mean, if it does, it does. So we'll figure it out. Okay, I'm going to get some more white, and I'm going to just bring this out and around with the white. Nice. Okay, now let's continue with blue around the exterior of this. So now I'm just using that full blue. Now, if I pull it too far in, it will become all dark blue. I don't want that to happen. Also, I'm thinking about where the paintbrush is as I'm moving it on my canvas, right? So if I'm going back and forth, so I'm using the brush one way and then I'm bringing it back the other way. That means this side's always going to have lighter paint and that side's always going to have darker paint. If I don't really think about it and I start flipping my brush, then the darker paint will then jump onto the canvas, and that's not what I want, right? So you want to try to be cognizant of when you're using your brush back and forth, it's staying like I'm going this way, and then when I go back, so this side is always the same side that is where it's lighter, and the darker side is always where it's darker, so that I keep my flow and my transition in color going. Otherwise, if you flip the brush, then you'll end up bringing in a darker color, and we don't want to do that. At the same time, if we do, it's not the end of the world, because once it dries, we can always like make a more defined moon. Oh, I got to get rid of that paper. My goodness. I'm getting like, I don't usually clean off my brush this early, but I had so much black on it. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Let me just go back and get some more white. Okay. Maybe a little bit too bright, considering I want it to be like a night sky. It's okay. We can darken it up in a bit. We can always add the darkness to it if we need to. Okay, so let's bring that out a little bit. Let's keep it going. Okay, I think at this point I'm going to add some red onto the canvas just along the exterior of the blue. I'm just going to keep going on top of this red color for a little bit and then bringing it into the blue. Everything's still quite wet, so it blends nicely. And again, my brush is always staying with the same things in and out so that it stays. I'm not mixing up and putting darker colors where I don't want them to live. I'm just going to go and put a little bit more blue on the outside of this. I know I'm working a little quickly, so I don't, once the paint dries, you can't blend it as easily, and I like to blend things as I go on my canvas. I just put a bit more red on my brush. I'm trying to keep it in like a circular motion. It's a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to keep coming outwards. Get the rest of this going. And I'm good with it kind of going back and forth between like purpley and then the darker blue and then kind of like streaks of red. Like I'm good with that. I want to keep it like a nice dark value, but I don't want to go all the way black because I am going to use black to make my silhouettes. And if the background is black, your black silhouettes are not going to stand out. I mean, you can do it that way, and then you can use like a different, you could always put like a bit of a white highlight, or you can change that up. Like that's always an option too. But I think for this one, I want to keep it colorful, more colorful background, and then darker silhouettes in the front. So I'm just kind of going back and forth. I'm just filling up. I am going to do my entire canvas with this back and forth with blue and then red, which then creates like a nice purple. And you want to get the sides of your canvas too. I haven't done mine yet, but it's always a nice practice to try to have those done too, because when you hang it up, it's nice that the colors and everything just continue on the sides. It just looks more finished, looks a little more professional and classy, I think. Not necessary. I have not used any black, just to be clear. I know I put black on my palette. I thought maybe I would use it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to stick this purple, and this blue is giving me enough of the darkness that I want. And I think with black, I might just darken it up a little bit too much. I'm trying to keep it like in this kind of like radiating and keep this like circular kind of vibe motion happening. Okay, I ran out of red. I'm just going to put a little bit more so I can make some more purple and do the sides of my canvas. I'm also noticing like this looks kind of strange, like the swooping here with my circle looks a little bit weird, so I'm going to go back and fix that up as well. But first, let me just do the sides, and then we'll go back and we'll touch that up a little bit. So right now, I'm just kind of going quickly to do the sides, and then I want the color to kind of match. So I don't want it, sometimes when you do the sides of the canvas and then the color doesn't match the front, sometimes like it'll poke out and it'll look kind of strange. So you just want to make sure that you're still blending it a little bit so that it looks seamless. So like doing that purple, I'm not going to do that purple color where I get to that area because it's not really going to make sense, but it is going to make sense up here. I'll make that side more of a bluey color. Okay, And then we'll just get this side in. What? Limited space. Okay. Whoa. Okay, my finger just touched. Well, I know my finger was going to touch it, but I didn't think it was going to pull off the paint, but it did. That's okay. When I make mistakes, it helps so you can see that even after painting for all this time, I still do silly things like touch wet paint and pull it off with my finger, and then I'll show you how to go about correcting it. So that works out too. Okay, I'm going to the bottom. I'm kind of doing it like willy-nilly, like I'm not really, I want it to be fully covered, and then I just come to the front and then just like make sure that everything looks nice and smooth. See, I just totally, look at that. Beautiful, right? Ugh, silly girl. Okay, let's play a little bit first. I want to get this a little bit more the way circular around here. Okay. I'm just going to touch this up a bit. Okay, I'm going to get some more red and add it here. Blend that out a little bit. Okay, I like that better. And then we're going to continue going and getting that maybe a more circular. Maybe we need it to be darker here. Give us more of that effect. I'm just going to touch the sides up here too. And I'm going to make it a bit smaller. So I'm just going to bring it in a little bit more. And then I'm going to soften it with a lighter color in a moment. But I just want to make it a little darker on this side too, I think. There we go. I think that's still wonky, but better. I feel like this is weird here. Okay, I think that's better. Trying to have a nice flow. Okay, that looks good. Now let's clean off my brush, and then I'm just going to add white back to the center and just play a little bit with that to get that the way I want it. Okay, a bit of blue. Just get that glow going. I feel like I still keep making it wonky every time I do it. It's like, no. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then I think a nice smaller in the distance. Yes. Okay, and it's glowing and it's beautiful. Perfect. Okay, we'll leave it like that. I will touch that up later, but for now, this is looking the way I want it to look, which is awesome. Okay, great. So next up, so now we have this beautiful sky. I would like to pop in a bunch of stars, and I want to do that with white, and I want to splatter it. So I'm going to get a bit more white onto my palette. And again, I think I am going to make that more look moon-like, but we'll leave that for a wee bit. So I'm going to, this is the best brush to do it? I'm not sure. We'll try this brush and see how it goes. Yeah, that's cool. That's just like little stars in the distance. Cool. Yes, I like that. So I'm just getting the paint on here and then just like flicking it off. And I'm just doing it all over the canvas. And then we'll pop that in water for a bit. Clean off my finger, and then we will continue. Okay. If you want, you can be more particular. If you want to like actually place all the stars, you can. I don't. I just want to have fun with this one, so I'm just doing it this way for now. Okay. Next up, I want to put in some kind of like cliff. So I'm going to use my medium brush, and I'm going to use my black paint, and I want to create some kind of like platform that like my tree can land on, but that it kind of like it's like a jagged edge. Like, gotta be cautious. You're gonna fall off of it. So it's all silhouette, so it's good. So I'm just gonna fill all this in black. I think I will move into my bigger brush to continue that process. And yes, you will see little marks of white because that white splatter paint is wet, obviously, and it has not dried yet. But that's okay, because the black will overtake it. And if I have a little bit of white, it's not like a big deal. But you won't really be able to see it or notice it anyways. And I'm just updating the sides of my canvas with paint. So then that piece of land now exists here. Okie dokie. Okay, nice. So we have a nice weird piece of land that's sticking out over here. Okay, now a few things I'd like to do is, no, actually, you know what? I'm going to go first out to the tree. Let's do the tree. Okay. I think I will use a medium brush for now to do it, and then I might move into my fine brush after. So I think this tree, so I want to put, like, that's going to be the trunk of it. Yes. I'm just going to fill that in. And I have them a little scraggly, which I like. I don't want it to be super duper straight. That would not fit the vibe. And then I think I want it to be like coming out this way. And then maybe coming out up there. You can do it whichever way you want. Just remember, the closer it is to the trunk, the thicker, and then the further away, the thinner. Just keep that in mind. So use whatever brush will help you with that. That just makes it look more realistic that way. Okay. Then you can put as many or as few branches as you like. I'm gonna make this guy a little thicker. Yeah, that's better. So I'm really using like this edge to help with some of the ends here, and to try to keep it thinner at the ends. I'm just gonna make this one a little thicker too at the bottom here. Yeah, that's good. I think I feel pretty almost good with this one. I don't know if I want to add too many more. I don't know. It's really up to you how many. A few. Sometimes I do it and then I like go back and add a few more. Make them kind of funky, weird things sticking out sometimes. I find that more fun. Okay, that's good. I think I'm going to add a little bit of like foliage or something like here, just with the tip of my brush. Using the brush almost like a stamp, just to give me like a silhouette of like some grasses or like bushes that exist. Maybe it like sticks out a bit here. Yeah, I think that is good. There we go. Okay. And when I do this, I try to like, I don't want them all to be straight. I want some of them to be on the side, some of them to poke out. So they're kind of going in a few different directions, and it just looks, again, more like natural, the way things kind of grow weirdly, right? All right, so this is good so far. Okay, so now I do want to paint, I want to have like a little flying ghost that's like floating, which is, again, I get how it doesn't really make sense, but it does, because he's floating, but he's holding like a helium balloon. And for this, I am going to look up a little ghosty reference, because I want, I do like that one. Let me see. I had a few little ghost references. Let's just see how they did them. And then I think we'll do that. So like this one looks really cool. This one is a ghost reference. That looks really neat. Oh, you see the thing. So it's just really simple. It has white and it just has like little kind of gray to define the lines in the sheet. If you look on Pinterest, you can find some really good examples. So this one's just like, so pretty straightforward. So I'm going to just kind of follow that, and then probably use some of that to just get some of the folds in. That's cute. This guy is holding something. Okay, I might use that as reference. That's for that. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to just start with my thinnest brush, and I'm going to just use white and kind of play with the shape that I want. So the shape I want is, I want his head to be here. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it down. And this is like kind of comes down this way. Maybe I'll bring it down a bit lower than that blob because I'll just bring the blob into my fabric fold essentially. And then they have it like so here, the fabric kind of folds up because it's like holding something, and I can get them to hold my balloon here. That's a good reference to have a good idea of how to do that. Okay. And then we have the folds kind of come down. And then this side too, kind of fold it there, and then we can always define it more however we want to. All right, so let's just paint all of this in white. And you can go back to like a wider, like a medium brush if you so desire. I'm going to just stick with this thinner one for now. Even though it takes longer, I have a bit more control over it. And I think when I'm doing it, I'm kind of thinking about where I want the fabric to fold and how I want it to sit. So it kind of helps that process in my brain when I use this little brush. Okay. So I definitely want some more, like I want here to kind of come down, like a little point like that. And I'm going to have this another fold that's going to come down and come down like that. I think this one's going to be more like that. And then we're going to have another fold like there. It's going to stick out just slightly. Okay, and then very cute. Okay, and then here, I want this to come out a little bit more. Like that. Okay, creepy. I like it. A little creepy ghosty. I'm just going to put a little bit more white. In. Okay, now I want to make a little bit of a gray to start putting in some of the shadows of the folds. And this would be tricky. Okay, so this is this part here, and that comes down this way. And there's another fold here. I'm just going to put it in with the lines, and then we can make them work a little bit better. And then we have another fold like here. Another fold here. Another one here. Okay, now I think I need them to go a little bit darker than that. Let's go with some black. So my thin brush, and I'm just going to touch it with black. Okay. Okay, and then I'm thicken out the bottom a little bit. I want this to sit. Okay, and let's go back to white and just like soften some of it up. I'm just putting some white on top of those areas that were white initially. My paintbrush still kind of picks up some of the gray, so sometimes I'll get a few little gray lines, and I think it ends up working well because it kind of just balances out. It makes it seem a little bit more natural, the flow from one of the folds to the other. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit more like grayish lines up at the top, but then now I'm just gonna put some white on top of them where the head is. Okay, so we have our little floaty ghosty. Let's put their dark eyes in. I might still touch it a bit. I'm not sure if how much I love it yet. So I'm just gonna put in like that. Okay, so we got a little ghost going on here. And let me see, what do I like about him? What do I not like about him? I think I still want to touch up a few more aspects of the fabric. I don't think it's sitting properly, but overall, it's cute. But I do want to give him a balloon. And I want the balloon to be red because it's, you know, creepy. And I think I'm going to have the balloon here. And I want to just put it like there, I think. Now this red is not showing up very well. So I'm just going to add white to it. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to add more red on top of it. Because this red is not very opaque. But the white is, so we'll use it to our advantage. Okay, and then we need to put a little string. And I do want the string to be in black. You know what? I'm going to go back and use my other brush because it has like a nice crisp line to it, and I'm just going to try to use that to give me a nice straight black line down. So I'm just going to go like here to there. Yeah, like that. Cool. All right, so now I want to fix up my moon. I think I'm going to use, yeah, using my thin brush, I'll let that dry, and then I'll go back and put more red on it. So I'm just going to put white in the center of my moon, and I'm going to just bring it outwards. To give me like my nice Yeah, circular way. And then I'm going to get some gray. We're going to add a little bit of moon splotches, like the moon has little like moon splotches, like, okay. Then I'm going to get my white and I'm just going to mess up the splotches. Put more white, but keep my shape. Okay, so now it's not just white, but it has like a little bit of gray. And then I'm going to get some more, and I'm just going to like kind of dab. Just add a little bit of like moon vibes, and then I'm just going to go with white and do the same thing. Oop, that did not turn out to be white because my brush was still pretty dirty. Okay. I feel like it's really hard to see what I'm doing with the moon. Let me see if I can bring it down a little bit. So that's kind of what I have going on. Yeah, I feel like there's a weird glare. So I apologize for that, but it just kind of has, you probably won't see it in the picture I'll take afterwards. You can see it. And there's my little ghosty guy. And then we have my tree. I think that star looks a little bit weird because it definitely slid down my tree. So let's just fix that up because that looks strange. Does not look like it makes sense. So we'll just like thicken up that a little bit, get rid of it. Okay, that's better. It doesn't look the same. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of like a white, I am going to do a little bit of like a white highlight, almost like the moon is kind of kissing the tips of my tree. You can kind of see almost a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so we have just a little bit of like touching on the side there. Okay, so let's just see this guy. It's a little tacky, but I think we'll be able to see that, yeah. Okay. We might need like another coat on top of it. Okay, and then I think I do want to add a little bit of white just to put that little, you know how balloons have the little sprinkling on them a bit. Oof, that's black. Oh no! That's what happens when you put your hand on your canvas, Liza. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Okay, and let's just try to fix that up a wee bit. Oh my God, that's like too red. Trying to blend it back in with the sky, but I don't know if that's gonna work. I feel like, no, it's not happening. Okay, that's not the greatest, but it works. Okay, so I think I'm feeling pretty good about our little balloon ghost guy. Maybe we'll put like a little bat or something in the sky too, or something. Like we'll put like a little bird or bat, I don't know why, but something's flying, you know? Put like a oop, 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 oop. Little dudes going out that way. Nice, nice. Okay. I like it. All right. And I think maybe, you know what, why don't we pop like a little silhouette of a pumpkin on the side? It's really just like solidify our little ghostly scene, Halloweeny scene. So we'll put like a okay. Kind of cute. I guess we could even make it like a, we could put like little eyes. Maybe, I don't know if I want to do that yet. I'm not sure. But I know I want to like mess up the front and make it look like there's like grass or something where it's sitting, even though I know you won't be able to see it too much, but I want to just do that. Okay. And then I do want him to like touch. Okay. Put little grasses in front of it. Okay. I I'm feeling pretty good with it. And that will be our painting for today. So there we go. Little spooky painting to get everyone in the mood for Halloween season that's coming up. So I hope everyone enjoyed that painting session. If you painted along to this or created your own spooky scene, please take a picture of it and share it. I'd love to see it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and a great start to the fall season that's coming up very soon. All right, everyone. Bye. Take care.